You've now completed several shows of the Snowcore Tour and have played a number of fantastic venues along the way. How are you feeling about the tour so far, and what are some of the highlights? Any particular venues that have stood out?
Yes, it's been awesome. Last night in Manchester, New Hampshire, I think was my favorite. It might have been just because it was a Saturday night, or everyone was just in there all sweating together. But it was such a good vibe.
I think it's the heat. You know, it was cold outside, but inside the venue it was just hot and sweaty, and I think people were more open to rocking out instead of bundling up.
Something I find really cool is actually the VIP experience packages that you give to your fans. As I understand, you're actually going to be doing a special acoustic performance before every show. Whose idea was this, and how did it come about?
Whose idea was it?
I don't know. I think on a conference call with our manager, all of us were just kind of thinking of different ideas, and you may have mentioned something about acoustic. I don't know.
I think because we've had VIP experiences before, but it was like a sound check. Like they would come in for a sound check and do a meet and greet, whatever. And it seemed like we needed something that was more personal. You know, something that they could go home and be like, me and I experienced this.
Yeah, and with a few albums under your belt, you've actually worked with some major name producers and worked at some world-class facilities such as Energy Studios in LA. What do you enjoy about the recording process of an album, either from an artistic or a technical perspective?
I enjoy the studio a lot. Just, you know, getting sounds, you know, making sure everything's, you know, running well, and I don't know, when you go in with like just a blank slate, and then you lay the drums down and you lay the guitars down, and you watch this something so beautiful come into creation. It's almost miraculous, you know, just that experience.
Well, something that you said there about watching everything come together. One thing that I've kind of noticed is that, especially with you and what was the other guy's name? Sorry, Jared. You guys, despite playing for so long, none of your guitar riffs ever sound generic or like something that we've heard before. How do you approach songwriting and coming up with the guitar riffs that you come with on your songs? I
think it's something that we do try to steer clear from are things that are being done all the time, as far as like, you know, riffs and sounds. And it's not something that we talk about. It just, you know, from writing songs since we were teenagers, you know, we've always wanted to pick out things that we thought were unique and try to do those things. You know, nothing's really original. I mean, you know, you're influenced by the world around you. You know, so I mean, just surrounding yourself with interesting music, interesting artists, and I don't know. And
for the guitarists that listen to your music, what kind of gear do you use in the studio currently?
In the studio, we use all kinds of gear. On this last record, we used a lot of orange. Did we use Sound City? I don't know what we did. We used Tone Kitchen amps. We had a Marshall, and we had a Vox. What else did we have? We used a lot of cool amps and tons of effects. We had pedals and piles of pedals.
And does anything change when you're on stage? Do you use anything different, or do you kind of just take everything?
We try to stick to what we've created. You know, if for some reason we do something in rehearsal that it's like, oh, that's even cooler than the record, you know, then we'll do that.
Now, one thing I find really interesting about you guys is that you've kind of seen both sides of the music industry. For the first couple albums, you know, you released them with a major label, but with this one,
it was an indie label. Octone's indie.
That is true. Indie label, and now with this latest record, which I find kind of fascinating, you guys actually had it fan-funded. What's it like to be a music artist in 2015 with the way everything's been changing?
I think, you know, there's a lot more opportunity to be creative, which I find, you know, very inspiring, and a lot more opportunity to connect with your fans on a closer level. You know, it used to be you get signed and there's people at the label kind of have an idea of what you're going to do, and you go through, you know, all these steps and you put out your album, and that's that, you know, and you have fan clubs and stuff, and that's how you connect with you know, with your fans. But Pledge Music is amazing because you get to create an experience that's different. You get to connect with your fans, and for us it meant everything because they'd been with us, you know, been with Flyleaf for so long. And I think for me too, I wanted to do Pledge Music because it let me kind of show who I was, because I was a new member of the band. And one thing people were saying is, who are you, you know? And so for me, it allowed me to just, you know, turn the, you know, my own phone around and play a little riff of a new song, or say, this is why we wrote this, or talk about what it is like to be, you know, recording Between the Stars. So for me, it was really important that our fans moving forward know who I am and know who we are as a band now.
I mean, branching off of that, you know, a lot of these songs that you're performing, although you do them justice and you sound really good doing them, you know, obviously they were written by a different person. Mm-hmm. When you go to perform these songs live, do you try to get yourself in the mindset of the original lyricist, or do you kind of try to take your own spin on it?
Pat and I are heavy lyricists in the band from early on, so I mean, she's singing stuff that we've written, so...
But no, I don't try to pretend I'm Samir, Lacey, Pat, anyone. I try to, you know, that was kind of a really cool thing about joining Flyleaf, and something challenging for me and new was I had never joined a band where I hadn't written, you know, a majority of the music. But I think it was cool because it allowed me to become a fan of Flyleaf, you know, and then it made me kind of think about where these songs are coming from and put them in my own perspective, you know, like all fans do. You know, when you're listening to music, when I'm listening to music, I'm not thinking, oh, I wonder necessarily where this person is coming from. I'm relating it to my life personally and my experiences, and then it kind of manifests itself into this new thing. So that's what I try to do on stage. You know, I have to be as much myself as I can.
When you guys come up with a concept with the way the social media is now, with internet, YouTube, and everything, when you're writing the song, do you have to do the overall picture when you look at it, or you just write the song first and then come up with the visual afterwards?
When you talk about visual,
as far as like videos and YouTube and
okay,
and of course some of the production now, you know, you're getting these bigger shows and everything.
Yeah. I think a couple of times maybe, you know, like I have a picture in my mind, and maybe not, you know, that it would be a music video or whatever, but you know, I do have scenarios in my mind, and like I think it's really important for your lyrics to be visual. So I always have some kind of visual in my mind when I'm writing a song.
That's great.
It's whether that manifests into like YouTube or a music video, an actual music video.
So more in a true artistic fashion, you're just not writing music, you're doing the overall picture, which that's what makes you so successful when you do something like that. That's fabulous.
Now, I mean, something I also noticed is, you know, you did collaborate with Sonny Sandoval from POD in the past. In both your opinion, what makes for a good collaborative pairing, and are there any artists that you'd love to collaborate with in the future?
I think an openness and a vulnerability on both your parts, I think, is really important. Even writing with these guys, you know, we both had to be open and willing to hear what the other person is saying, but also feel like we're in a comfortable spot where we can share our hearts, you know, specifically, or else you won't create something authentic that can really touch people's hearts and souls. Man, who would I like to collaborate with? I mean, I really am digging Alt J right now, so I think that could be kind of interesting. I love Ellie Goulding. She's more of a pop artist.
Oh, she's awesome.
And she co-writes with a lot of different people. I just think her energy and what she puts in her music, it has so much energy, but then she has an intimacy about her voice that is really beautiful. And Joni Mitchell, definitely, hands down, would be incredible. I would probably be very overwhelmed writing with her, but it would be pretty awesome.
And anyone, like, you can think of Samir, anybody in particular, like any guitarist that you like really idolize or anyone like that?
Yeah, I would love to collaborate with Johnny Greenwood.
Wow, that'd be great.
Definitely. Something that I've found interesting is that, you know, you have such energetic live shows, and you have recorded and released live performances in the past, yet, I mean, unless I'm mistaken, and you're welcome to correct me, you haven't really done like a full-blown live DVD/live album yet. Is it something you guys have openly discussed and something that you might be interested in doing?
I think we've discussed it, yeah. I think it's a matter of like finding the right time to do it, and, you know, getting the budget for it.
And making it sound really good. You know, making it translate, I think, is the biggest thing, because that's what makes a live show so special when you're actually there. Yeah,
we know about budgets. We $5 for parking. Let's go. That was cheap.
Yeah.
Because the lights have to be great, the sound has to be amazing. So.
Speaking about which, I mean, how do you guys balance between the small venues, like you're going to play tonight, and a bigger venue? I mean, that's got to be, I mean, on a tour. I mean, is it hard for you? Do you enjoy one more than the other, or
Man, they're each
just take it how it comes,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely, yeah. They both have the pros and cons. I mean, obviously the smaller shows have the tiny stages, so you're more cramped. You're gonna hit, like even last night, like I hit my guitar on like these wooden pillars, and I think I hit you a couple of times.
Did you ever do the Community Club before? Or you ever played there?
Yes, we played here before. Yeah,
I was actually here the first show it opened up. Believe it or not, 20-some plus years ago. It has not changed at all.
He's been doing this for like 40 years.
No,
See, but in those small venues, like even though it's cramped and you can't move around, like the energy in there is just so amazing.
It's awesome. I mean, the stage way it comes, you're so out there that they actually can feel it. Yeah, it's really great. But you get a good sound in there because they have the old tiles up on the ceiling. When you look up, it's like coming down the old Victorian town. It's really nice, really nice.
Now, you said that you might accidentally hit her with your guitar the other night. Have you guys sustained any really bad injuries while on tour? Anything?
I've had several stitches like on my face.
Yeah, the first day of this tour, I had this necklace that was like this crystal, and the ironic thing is, crystals are supposed to give you, all these different sensations of positivity and love and joy and whatever, and it hit me in the face. It's better now, but I had like a little black eye at first, and I was like, well, that's
Were you feeling pretty positive about that black eye?
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna go, yeah. Oh, man.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much all I have. Is there anything else you'd like to add or tell your fans to look forward to either tonight or in the future?
We have. I think we'll be making a tour announcement here pretty soon. There's a tour coming up that we're very excited about.
Can you leak any information?
Gonna headline it, or?
We're gonna be playing music on the road.
Okay. Internationally?
It's a U.S. tour.
A US tour.
We'll be hitting some cities that we haven't hit yet,
Okay.
So.
Reading, Pennsylvania. That's not too far away.
Science Center.
Yeah, we live 5 minutes from there, so.
Right on.
All right, well, very good.